We still have a view that cancer diagnosis is death sentence. You know, when you're told you have cancer, the first thing is you try everything. It's desperation, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, the way our doctors put it, they're like, we have to do this right now. So there's a lot of urgency they put to it that then brings in desperation, and you'll sell everything that you have. If you feel you're not okay, do not ignore, because I think most of us, we ignore, and mostly the men, we ignore those early signs. It might not be cancerous, but it might be something else. Just go get checked so that you know you're clear and you can have a peace of mind.
Quick one before we dive in. I find this really fascinating. On the back end of our YouTube channel, it tells us that 90% of you watch our content frequently but haven't yet subscribed. And I just want to ask you a small favor. If you have watched the Power Dialogue Africa content before and you like what we do here, please hit that subscribe button. It makes such a huge difference because it helps us scale production, attract even bigger trailblazers, and bring you more of the conversations that truly matter. That's a promise. I'll keep raising the bar every single episode. Every year in Kenya, over 44,700 new cancer cases are diagnosed, and more than 29,300 people die from cancer, according to the Global Center Observatory 2022 data. Across Africa, the burden is similarly heavy. For every 100,000 people in Kenya, about 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Cancer is currently the second leading cause of death in Kenya and the top cause among females in 2024, while for males, it ranked second after pneumonia. Yet, behind these stark numbers are real lives, families grappling with fear, confusion, and loss, often without clear paths forward. Today, we are joined by Philip, the chair of the Kenyan Network of Cancer Organizations. Hi Philip.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Karibu sana. It's an
Asante
honor
sana.
to have you back.
Thank you.
And since I'm very familiar with your work, I'd like for you to introduce yourself and to speak to the experiences and the wisdom that has gotten you this far as a professional, and why what you do is very personal to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Philip Odiyo Homa, psychologist, and of course now with doing a lot of cancer work. It's a new discipline we call psycho-oncology. I was trained in New York, Memorial Sloan Cancer Center. I've been involved with cancer patients for more than 20 years. It's something that I'm passionate about in Kenya, and of course not just in Kenya, across Africa.
Why is this so personal to you? Is there an experience that has happened to you, or is it just passion, which is also good?
Well, it's I have not had any of my immediate family members, apart from now my father-in-law having been diagnosed with cancer. So it's something that came out of, I lost my parents again at a young age, and I noticed there was lack of care and a lot of stigma, around diseases. So I just decided that I want to be there for the patients, listen to them, and try to see how we can be able to help them navigate cancer mostly.
Thank you for that. Philip, most people are lost when they're told they have cancer. It's a very damning experience and realization to be in. I would like to know from your experience from the Cancer Network, why is it still very unclear what someone should do when they first hear about this, and where should they ideally go first?
Yeah, of course, we still have a view that cancer diagnosis is death sentence. Every time, I'm sure even for me, if I was told, Philip, from your reports, the test that you did last time, they've come back positive for cancer, I will be devastated. The first thing that will go to my mind will come in my mind is death. I'm dying. Then, of course, so when you think you're dying, then you're thinking of projects, plans, things that you need to do. The next thing then that comes to your mind is the financial cost of cancer treatment and just seeing what patients go through. So I think that's why I feel it's very important for me to be there for people the moment when they get that news because of the shock of cancer.
And ideally, what should someone do first? And this information is not readily available, because I believe that's why people are perplexed and just thrown off when they hear about this. Do we have enough resources to support this? And what ideally should be the very first steps that people take?
Yeah, are there resources available? What's the first step? Let me give you some statistics, a bit of statistics, yeah? Before someone, a majority of people are diagnosed with cancer, they usually see the signs, but they don't think they are related to cancer. Maybe if you're a woman, you might have inverted breast, the nipples, or maybe there's a small lump, and you're thinking, maybe it's something that bit me, and you don't do anything about it. So what we notice is it takes 1 year from the moment somebody begins to observe the signs to the moment they are diagnosed. Can you imagine that woman who is in Kisumu, rural area? They have this lump, it grows, and then there's no one to tell them, hey, this could be cancer. So they just take the local herbal medicine.
Is it denial?
Not denial, it's lack of information. They go to the local clinic, and the clinical officer in the local clinic doesn't know how to identify early signs of cancer. So they will not tell them this is cancer, they'll give them antibiotics. So we realize that by the moment the signs show up, to the moment they reach the clinic and they are told they have cancer, it usually takes a year or longer.
Does it mean that we don't have capacity to detect?
Exactly. So, and I can say the government has tried. I am not holding fort for the government, but because I've been in the cancer space for a very long time, I've seen the evolution that is happening within the space, but there's still more work that needs to be done, mostly in the grassroots, so that we educate the clinical officers or the nurses. When they see a suspicious sign, then they need to actually, first thing that comes to their mind is supposed to be, you go get treated for cancer or go get checked, because first usually we do different tests. So then I end up in the clinic, how that doctor is going to deliver the news. So by the time it's been 1 year since you've been going back and forth, and then you're told, oh, this is suspicious, you might be having cancer. So the moment you go to the clinic to do the tests, you're already anxious. So how the doctor delivers the news to you, it's very important. Some doctors will go and, you go and they'll just tell you, oh, by the way, your results came back and you have cancer. Not even exploring whether they're in a good space where we need to tell this news. Are they ready? Did they come with anyone when they are getting that result? So I've had many patients who go through that. So then the patient is shocked. So the first thing is shock. Then what do I do after that? The most important thing is to take time. If I have a family member, it's a father, sister, or me, take time. First, find out information. What type of cancer do I have? What is the stage of the cancer? What are the treatment options? Who are the doctors? How much money will it cost? My fear is sometimes people they get the results without even taking time to process the news. They go straight into treatment. And that's when we have people have a lot of emotional effects around it.
And I've seen situations where some people are actually in denial.
Yeah.
They rather refer to the disease, is that the right word?
Yeah.
The disease in
Yeah.
any other form, but don't say cancer.
Yeah.
And I've seen that take a very big toll on their mental health as
Yeah.
well. I believe we need to sensitize people enough so that
Yeah.
it's not really a death sentence. You can bet it.
Yeah.
If you, I believe the fight starts in the mind.
In the
If you're
mind,
not
yes,
there
yes,
yet,
yes, yeah.
It might really put you down.
Yeah, denial is actually something that is, it's a normal human nature. Again, denial is a process, of grief. When you go through the stages of grief, denial is one of them. You go through denial before you get into acceptance. So I would like to say first, it's normal. If anyone is going through that, it's a normal process. The thing is, what do I do after that? Because there are those who are denying, and then after that, they'll be like, you know what? We bring in survivors to talk to them, people who have survived cancer for 20, 30 years, 10 years, they talk to them, and then they're like, okay, I can go through treatment. So there's the denial first, and then after that, somebody actually is open for treatment, and they go for treatment. So encouraging them that cancer is not death sentence. That's why we use survivors to actually reach out to them. Yes. Yeah. The other challenge I have, maybe if you don't mind, is the family. Because the moment someone is diagnosed with cancer, the first thing that actually goes sometimes in the family's mind is, oh no, we can't spend that kind of money on you, and you're going to die anyway. So they don't treat them. I have interacted with patients who have breast cancer that is ulcerated, which means it's broken out, it's a big wound. And this is somebody who could have been treated and helped. But because the family has pushed them, saying, oh no, we can't treat this, they're going to die anyway, so why should we spend this money? Why should we sell the land? Or why should we sell our cows to take someone to be treated and they're going to die anyway? So changing of the public mindset is very important.
And that just speaks to the state of cancer care in Kenya. Yeah. And at the moment, statistics from WHO and KNBS show that cancer is the second leading cause of death in Kenya, only after pneumonia. Yeah. And interestingly, it's affecting more women because it's number one in women and second in men. Yeah. What does that say about the state of cancer care in Kenya? Are we making progress? Are we stagnating? Are we doing badly? In your opinion as chair, what do you think about this?
The state of cancer care, again, when I started the work a long time ago, it's grown. When I was working in the cancer space, the first years, we had around 8 to 10 oncologists. I knew them, I could count them. Oncologists are those doctors who treat cancer patients. Right now, government is trying to have cancer centers everywhere. So there's some growth. The challenge is in the prevention and also the detection. 80 to 90% of cancer cases in Kenya and across Africa are diagnosed at late stages. That's where the challenge is. 80 to 90% of the cases are diagnosed at late stages. So if we could be able to empower the grassroots officers that these patients see from the initial ward, from the initial stage, I think we could be able to reduce that 80 to 90 to 60%. Because again, when you're diagnosed at late stage, there are more challenges. Treatment is costly. Possibilities of cure are also minimal, and of course, it's just more complicated. Yeah. 80
to 90% is quite high.
Yes.
It's very high.
Late stage, 80 to 90%, not just in Kenya, but across Africa.
What other statistics should we be looking out for in terms of cultural trends, and maybe statistics that we should be looking out for in this fight against cancer?
Yeah, it's a very good question. What is it that we should be looking out for? And somebody was asking me, what do we need to do? Prevention. So what is it that we need to do to prevent cancer? Systemic issue, I think we need to have strong regulatory measures in terms of our food. Some of the food that we eat, they have chemicals, chemicals that have been added to them. So, we have Kenya Bureau standards, that needs to be looking into that. Lifestyle issues, Kenya is a drinking nation, right? And yes, we are a drinking nation. And we love our meat, nyama choma, right? Is that bad? There's a lot, and of course of late there's a lot of statistics, very strong evidence that is showing a lot of red meat has effect on cancer. So you eat a lot of red meat, which goes with drinking, right? So you drink and red meat, you're more likely, or you're susceptible. I'm using the word susceptible because I can't say meat causes cancer. Meat does not cause cancer, but meat increases. Eating a lot of red meat can increase your chances of getting 6 different types of cancers. Drinking alcohol, over-drinking, over-drinking is minimal again. Makes you susceptible to different types of cancer. So I think we need to have a bit of lifestyle change. Eating, we can have our meat, but eat it in moderation. You can have your alcohol, again, drink it in moderation. We need to do a lot of physical exercises, you see, because of modernization. We are walking less, there's Ubers, there's Matatus, and that's why you find sometimes in the rural areas, cancer cases are not as many compared to the urban areas. And then, of course, regulatory bodies, I talked about it. Yeah, and then, of course, there are other issues around, like we find there are young people who are diagnosed with cancer, issues around cervical cancer. It's very common now among women, and that is why we are encouraging mothers to take their children for HPV vaccination. Australia, which is one of developed countries, is just about to eliminate cervical cancer because of HPV vaccination. If they can do it, yes, why can we not do it?
Can, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And Philip, there's something that I've come across. Of course, you've talked about late diagnosis. That's one of them. But I've seen instances where the diagnosis is not right, or someone goes for maybe, say, lump removal, and it's not gotten out right. And these cases are very many. When you look up cancer, you see them here and there. What systemic problems should we address as a country, and what are the fixes for these problems so that we can be on point on detection, on point on prevention, and managing cancer?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the things that that the government is working on is regulating. There are so many cancer centers that are now coming up. For some it's a business venture, because people are desperate. When you're told you have cancer, the first thing is you try everything. It's desperation, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, the way our doctors put it, they're like, we have to do this right now. So there's a lot of urgency they put to it that then brings in desperation, and you'll sell everything that you have, right? So I think there's need to educate the public. In terms of regulating the cancer centers, the National Cancer Institute, which is an umbrella body that was brought by government, put together by government, is really working on regulating the centers so that if a doctor is misdiagnosing you, you can be able to report them and it's followed up. So also educating the doctors, and even for the doctors to come together, we have what we call medical tumor boards, where the doctors come together and they discuss the cases. When we put a lot of emphasis on efficiency and making sure that the medical systems work, I think it's going to help us. And there are regulatory bodies that are able to do that. And then, of course, for us as KENCO, because one of the things that I do is I'm the chairman of Kenya Network of Cancer Organization, which is an umbrella body that brings in all the grassroots cancer organizations in the whole country. We are trying also to make sure, working together with the National Cancer Institute, to bring up these cases, because there are patients who are bringing up cases to us. Oh, I've been misdiagnosed. I told my doctor there's this lump that I had, and I kept on saying that I think I need to go for further treatment or further tests. And the doctor said, no, don't worry, it's nothing major. So I think those cases, we are trying to collect them and bring them up. Yeah, with the right bodies. So
better oversight over the system. Yes, yeah. Thank you for that. I'm sure as chair of KENCO, you have come to realize that cancer is just more than medical. It's psychological, it's emotional, it's spiritual, especially here in Africa. In your experience, what do families struggle with the most when it comes to cases of cancer, accepting and actually finding a way through it?
Yeah, when cancer comes into a family, I always tell people cancer does not just affect the individual. It affects a family member. Maybe it's a father, maybe it's your mother, or maybe it's your sister or your father. Now, this person doesn't live in isolation, they live in a system. And sometimes I have been talking to many patients. Actually, even yesterday, I was in Mombasa yesterday, and we were talking to cancer patients. And I've heard of cases of people who had to leave their jobs to take care of the patient, right? So you're working, you're trying to provide, you have to be there almost, it's like a full-time job. And cancer is not a short-term disease, it's a long-term disease. So it's 2 years, 3 years when you're not employed. Maybe you're a student. I've had people who have to leave, stop their studies so they can take care of their parents. So how do families help? Of course, families are also dealing with this. There's the financial challenges. But I would like to say, any member of family that is affected by cancer, when cancer comes to your family, I would like to say, number one, cancer is not death sentence. What this person needs at this point is care, understanding, and empathy. Be there for the person. Number two, what the person needs is support. Support can be financial, can be moral. So if there's a way how the family can come together, and what I like, NHIF used to work very well for the patients, cancer patients. You know, a lot of the treatment was covered, including flying to India. The Shah, we still have, we call it teething problems. So many people are struggling, but I am hoping, I want to remain hopeful that government will sort out these teething problems so that the insurance can really take care of patients' needs. Because people sell, they actually become poor because someone was diagnosed with cancer.
Thank you for bringing that to the fore. Yeah. And I believe comprehensive cover and an effective cover is very important. Yeah. Besides that, if you could redesign cancer response system in Kenya, what 3 things would you be keen on reinventing altogether?
Wow, that's a good question. If I could redesign cancer care and response in Kenya, of course, I will try to glean in from what's happening in the West, having worked in the West or having studied in some of the institutions. One of the most important thing that I will put in place, because like we said, cancer is not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. I'll make sure there's strong emotional support from the moment there's suspicion, not from the diagnosis, from suspicion. When they see that lump, there's someone they can call and make that service accessible. Wherever you are, you can call. That's number one. Getting that strong emotional support from diagnosis all the way to treatment. Okay? The other thing I will do is I will make sure that cancer treatment is accessible in every county, making sure they have the equipment, they have the doctors, and they have the hospitals. And then number 3, because treatment is key. You don't want somebody coming from, we have people coming from Migori. I was in Mombasa the other day, and there was a patient who came from Siaya to go for treatment in Mombasa. Yeah? People come from wherever. Yes, from Siaya. I don't know why they had to go all the way to Mombasa, because they can come here to Kenyatta. Maybe they have a family member. So what I'm trying to say is people travel very long distances to live with family members who sometimes might not be supportive. And I think it's very important. When the service is where they are, I think it will make it better for them. The last one is have a very strong, cohesive, working insurance, because insurance will cover for all the treatment. I've had friends and partly some of the family who are treated abroad, and it's amazing how to see where system works. You know, they get the most important treatment, the best treatment so far, what we call immunotherapies. They are able to access them from their insurance, and it costs, one treatment can cost $1 million and above, but the insurance take care of it. Yeah,
and the insurance I really support, because it is the only thing that stands between life and death.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, you give up. And I believe that's psychological as well.
Psychological. So that's where psychological comes in, because I don't have insurance. I'm struggling with people. I'm fundraising. When people see me, they run away because they think I'm coming to ask for money.
And as you said,
Yes.
some people think it's a death sentence.
Death
Why
sentence.
would they
Why
sell
would
you
I-
their cow?
Yeah.
And yet you're dying.
Yeah, keep that cow to educate the other kids that you're leaving behind. Yeah.
That's a very poor mindset. I believe we
Exactly.
can do better.
Yeah.
And speaking about stigma, you spoke about that woman who had cancer that was
Yeah,
really eating her up,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there was no one to help her. I'd like to touch on stigma.
Yes.
How does stigma affect how we approach the care of cancer and just fighting cancer, and what cultural mindset do we need to change as Africa, as Kenya, to do better in this fight?
Yeah. Well, you see, what stigma does is, cancer is death sentence. I'm now coming across people who are even saying, if my husband, there are people who are afraid if you have a family member who has cancer, they think cancer is contagious. So there are some cases whereby there are communities that still think it's contagious. So they kind of like distance, and that creates emotional, pain. So I think it's what is it that we can do to deal with the stigma? Stigma also, before I go into what we can do, stigma can also be brought about by misinformation. Stigma will make someone not adhere to treatment, what we call treatment adherence, because they think, oh, I'm dying anyway, so why should I go for treatment? Stigma can also change people's beliefs, because I remember 20 years ago, I met with a lady. I was working in Kisumu, and she said she got cancer. She got cancer from her neighbor. Her neighbor bewitched her. So that's why she had cancer. So when this person believes that she was bewitched by a neighbor, and this is not just in Kenya, this happens across Africa. So do you think they will be able to follow up on the treatment? No. They will go to a witch doctor. And what will the witch doctor do? Probably get some hot stone and, just continue massaging the cancer. And by the time they are realizing that, wow, this thing is not healing, it's too late. That's why we have these cases. So I think it's important for us to educate people more so from the grassroots. Yeah.
There's something you said, that cancer is contagious. I remember HIV and AIDS had the same stigma.
Yes.
So just clarify, is it not contagious, especially if there are wounds that are open? How can someone contact anything, or is it zero contact?
I want to say it with clarity. Cancer is not contagious. Yeah, cancer is not contagious. Yeah.
You have mentioned Australia, and what they are doing with cancer prevention, and their win against HPV.
And Europe too. I think even Europe, there are very fewer cases of cervical cancer in Europe. Yeah.
What are some of the low-hanging fruits that you feel we can implement as Kenyans, as Kenya, to do better, that the West is winning at, those realistic scenarios that you can adapt as a country to do better in cancer care and response?
Yeah, that's a good question. We noticed that there have been a lot of people who are now trained, so we are beginning to have a very good pool of oncologists in the country. That's amazing. Number two, so people have been trained, and we are beginning to have a pool. But the focus, you see, maybe 80% of these oncologists are in Nairobi. That's where the challenge is. They are. Yes, Nairobi, Mombasa, probably the cities. So we need to begin to educate of course, for them, they are looking at being paid better. Educate them so that some of them can begin to go to the cities, mini cities, because maybe some of them are scared of rurals, but we need to have that service to the local level. It's possible. But you know what? It costs a lot to educate an oncologist. So the other thing that we can do is then we can empower the clinical officers, and I think the government is offering, their courses are being offered, higher diploma for clinical officers, because clinical officers are more likely to be in the rural areas, and they can stay there. So if they're empowered, then they'll be able to pick up some of these signs and symptoms earlier. The other one we can do is we have SHA. NHIF, like I said, it was working before. It was not perfect, but it was working. If we can just sort this share issue, I think we will have really helped so many people. And the last is prevention, lifestyle change. Kenyans, let's reduce this overeating red meat. It's very clear. Let's keep moving. Let's exercise, because exercise has a lot of benefits, Besides cancer, there are other non-communicable diseases that you can get because of inactivity, physical inactivity. And last is the drinking. Tupunguze kidogo. Let's reduce the drinking and let's live healthy life if you want to live long.
So prevention is the key to
is also key.
Okay. In your experience as a...
And HPV vaccination, sorry. Government is rolling out free HPV vaccinations in schools. We are facing challenges because many parents are thinking, no, these guys are sterilizing our daughters so that they won't give birth. No, it is a vaccination that is going to help your children.
Between what age and what age?
12 years. It keeps on shifting. Yeah, it keeps on shifting. Yeah, from the teenage. Yeah. Before they begin we say before they begin their sexual debut. Before they become sexual. After becoming more sexual, then the effects reduces. Yeah.
Potency goes down. That's understandable. I'd like to know from your experience as a psychologist, what's one of the hardest conversations you've ever had with a patient, with a patient's family, that shaped your understanding of resilience when it comes to cancer and just health in particular?
That's a very good question. The one that comes to my mind is I remember this boy who the doctor actually called me. One of the oncologists called me to go and see a small boy. This boy had skin cancer, and the cancer had eaten up his face, his eyes. It was a very nasty thing to see. I struggled for a while to sleep after that. And he was a boy, and the mother had gone through so much. But the resiliency of that boy taught me a big lesson that, humans, and more so children, because I think cancer also affects children. Not that I think, cancer affects children. And the children are the most resilient people when affected by cancer. So I saw this boy, I still remember up to now. I did a project. I went, bought a headphone and bought some, we loaded some music and videos, stuff so that he can listen to them while he was on treatment. Unfortunately, he passed away. I also remember this mother who the doctor told, these are difficult things to do. I remember this mother who the doctor told the cancer is not, we can't treat it, it's not curable. So what we want you to do right now is to go home and wait for your time to die. And the family member came and they were crying and hysterical, and they said, no, they're not gonna die. And I had to talk to them and calm them down. So those are difficult conversations when you're told, sorry, we can't treat you because the cancer is spread too much, so you need to go home.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Pray for grace.
Yes, you need a lot of grace, tons of grace to be able to deal with. But they're human, and they still afford a smile and a laughter.
We wait for the day where cancer will be defeated. That's what I've heard cancer survivors say.
Yeah.
And those fighting this scourge.
Yeah, and what we say is we hope it will be done in our lifetime.
Yes.
Yes.
That's very true. If you were to be given 1 billion in grant, what specific project would you invest in to make an impact in maybe health or something that you feel Africa needs at the moment, and it's urgent and should be addressed as quickly as possible?
1 billion in grant. I will build an Africa center for training doctors across Africa, because in Kenya has the best treatment across Eastern Africa and probably Sub-Saharan Africa.
Really?
Yes, among the best. South Africa has the best, then Kenya, followed by followed by Egypt and Nigeria. Those three nations.
Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our neighbors are not doing so well in terms of treatment centers, doctors, and machines. So I will put all that money in training more doctors, and if possible, also training, having a center for psychologists to learn how to work with patients, including children. Yeah.
I forgot to ask, as chair of the Cancer Network,
Yes.
are there resources, at their, what is it, support? Is there support that people can approach the network for?
So what the network is doing, like right now, we are working with other, again, network is we have other smaller organizations. I mentioned around 70 organizations spread across the country. And what we do is our presence is felt through those organizations. So we are empowering them, right? Like right now, we've just given the smaller organizations grant, what we call mini grant, to do awareness in their locality. So we do that. The other thing is we are working on raising money for SHA. As much as the social insurance is affordable to majority, but there's still that bigger group of patients who cannot afford to pay. So we are trying to do different activities to be able to raise money so we can pay for them, those who can't afford, like really, SHA. So that's the way that we are working with the public. We have also materials that were developed to train people on what are the early signs and symptoms of cancer, how do you notice this, where do you go? So all those resources are there through, of course, support of our partners.
So it's from detection,
yes.
prevention and fighting, treatment.
Yeah.
Got it. So something about SHA, the support, the financial support. Is it directly from the network, or is it from the partners, the 70 organizations that are part of the network?
The 70 organizations actually depend on us rather than supporting us. They depend on us. We amplify their voices. Most of them depend on us. It's more from different fundraising initiatives. Like next year, we are planning to have what we call Relay for Life. Yes. Event, and that's how we raise money. We've done dinners. I think next, in a few months' time, we will have what we call Scars to Stars, which is a beauty. The pageant, those who walk, Yeah. So we have one for cancer patients. I'll send you an invite. It's next month. Yeah, so I'll send you an invite, and you can see that despite all the scars that they have, they are still hopeful, resilient, and looking forward. So I want you to be there.
Thank you so much for the invite. We will definitely be there.
Yes.
I'd like to know, when the story of cancer is narrated, maybe 10, 20 years from now, what would you want your legacy to be? What would you want to be remembered for in your role in this fight against cancer?
Yeah, that's a question that I've been thinking through most of my time. Is that this was as a fierce defender of the patients and for the patients and with the patients. Like, everything for me is for cancer survivors. We have to make it work for them. That's what I'm passionate about. When I'm sleeping, everywhere I go is making sure that it works for the patients.
Thank you for that. And you have mentioned this is a passion project, so I really commend you for giving your time, your service to this.
Thank you.
And I know cancer is very demanding, the effects, the emotional, the physical, everything. What mantra or what belief keeps you going? Because this is very tasking, and you must have grounding of some sort to keep going and to keep seeing everything you see and still have your heart and your focus in this. What keeps you going?
What keeps me going for me is the faith, the face of the people that I've worked with. Most of the patients that I've worked with, some will tell me, remember, Philip, that day you talked to me and called me, I had given up. I had given up. When you called, you gave me that courage to fight and live on. For me, that's very important. And of course, I also care. I think caring is a godly opportunity. Next time when I'm a patient, how would I like to be cared for? If you are a patient, right? So always look at this as, if I was in that shoe, how would I like to be taken care of? Because you're not immune. Everyone can get cancer. So the way I would like to be taken care of is the way I take care of them.
Thank you for that.
And self-care, of course, like we say, it's really a draining job, draining emotionally.
Psychologists need other psychologists to vent.
Exactly.
You speak to someone else as well.
Yes, I have someone I have to speak to, because I can walk, when you walk with someone, it's not just at the cognitive. We become friends. We become family. And I have lost so many. Every time we lose them, it crushes you, right? So then you have to do something that self-care for you, but the losses happen on every month. At least, there's someone that has passed away, because we know so many people. So every time that happens, you feel like bits and parts of you are being chipped away when you lose that person. So I have to ground myself, self-care, go to the gym, exercise, go for a long walk. And then you know what? Someone has to do the job. So I come back, because if you don't do it, no one else will do it. Someone has to do it.
I believe on the upside, it teaches you to really appreciate life.
Exactly.
You have it today.
Exactly.
Or someone is gone.
Appreciate life and really be thankful for what you have, no matter how little it is.
That's so true. Thank you for that lesson.
Yes.
I'd like to know if you would have an opportunity to have, say, lunch or dinner with an African leader, past or present, who would it be and why?
Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, just because of he was a compassionate leader, and what he has gone through, that resilience to come out and still be forgiving, for me, it's powerful. Nelson Mandela will be my person. Compassion and resilience, yeah.
What's your favorite destination in Africa and why?
Favorite destination in Africa, of course, is Mombasa.
Why?
It's the
Why,
beach.
of course?
The beach. I love the beach. I love the beach. I was just there the other day, so I just love the beach. It's beautiful. Africa, so Mombasa, then Cape Town.
Is it the beach as well?
The beach. Cape Town is like heaven. So if you've been to Cape Town and the Cape Town area, it's beautiful, beautiful beaches, beautiful, places to see. Going to the Cape Mountain, a lot to see. I'm not holding brief for South Africa. No. But it's just a beautiful place. Yeah, that I think people need to go to.
So we'll add Mombasa and Cape Town.
Cape Town, yeah. Mombasa is here. If you can take the train. If you can afford, you can go to Cape Town. Of course, it's a bit more pricey.
Yeah, thank you. So in terms of cancer prevention, detection and treatment, is there anything that you feel our audiences should know that could make a world of difference, something that maybe we haven't touched on that will be important for this discussion? Yeah,
I think maybe even in summary is to say, hey, cancer is not death sentence, and you need to do your annual checks, That annual check is very important. Go for your check. Get checked. For the men, because we always think it's women. Women get affected more. There's breast, cervical, and other cancers, ovarian. But for the men, please go get checked. When you're over 45 and above, prostate cancer is very common among men, and now we are seeing more and more men suffering from throat cancer, and of course, because of the drinking, So you really need to go get checked. If you feel, and I tell people, your body speaks to you. If you feel you're not okay, do not ignore, because I think most of us, we ignore, and mostly the men, we ignore those early signs. It might not be cancerous, but it might be something else. Just go get checked so that you're clear and you can have a peace of mind.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. We'll do that. One last thing before you leave. As these 70 organizations that are part of the network, is there somewhere that people can go and find them, considering that there is the financial support element? Is there a resource that we can share so that people know which hospitals these are, especially for the burden of
there we have the KENCO website. So it's Kenya Network of Cancer Organization, www.Kenya Network of Cancer Organization, KENCO actually, networks.org. So I think you just go to the website, you'll be able to see the various organizations that are working. Like I said, most of them will be there to support you, navigate you through treatment. If you're diagnosed, they might not give you the money, but they'll navigate you. They'll tell you, this is where to go, this is a doctor to see, because there's always that confusion, what we call patient navigation. But we have many organizations that, because most of the people who started these organizations are survivors. So they're going to give you hope also. Yes, they've gone through it, they understand, they'll give you hope, they'll encourage you, and since they've gone through it, you'll feel like, wow, I'm not alone. There are others. Exactly. And they tell you how they navigated their treatment journey, plus the challenges.
That's really empowering, and I'll also look out for it and just share with everyone so that you have common knowledge of
Exactly.
this. Thank you so much, Philip, for coming today. Really appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to learning more and more from you.
Thank you so much. I was happy to be here.
Karibu sana.
Yeah, asante.
And that's it for this powerful episode of the Power Dialogue Africa. Remember to like, comment, and share with us your questions and whom you'd like to see next on the Power Dialogue Africa. Until next time, I'll be encouraging you and cheering you on to your next power move. See you on the next one. Bye.